And welcome to the very 27th hour of Adventurers Wanted Rebellion. Thank you all. Yes, my name is Leo, and I'm going to be your games master this morning. While this is not technically a relaxed performance, we do have a relaxed attitude from the audience we do have a relaxed attitude towards sound and movement from the audience. For the benefit of those who might not be able to stay silent or still for an entire hour. The lights are going to stay exactly like this, although there may be some sound effects from Wilhelm at the back. Always gets the best laugh of the show. So, yeah. If you do have any questions, if you do need any help, Naomi on your right there is our stage manager. Please do give her a wave. So, how does this work? This is a tabletop role-playing game, which means the four people on my left and right here play individual, unique characters within a fantasy setting. And as the game master, I control the fantasy setting, the strain that goes onto their antagonists, the weather that may beset them, and indeed the very walls that get in their way. The story to keep things fair, oh gosh, I'm really losing it this one, aren't I? To keep things fair, we interact with each other using dice. The most common used one will be the D20, or the 20-sided dice there. High numbers being good, low numbers being hilariously bad, so a 1 being the worst you can get usually. And that usually means something you've tried to do has failed. The story so far, the rebellion. These four players on my left and right are members of a rebellion that has overthrown an imperial cult that enslaved them for 5 years, made them mine this mysterious glowing ore which crops up from time to time, and most recently they've managed to overthrow this cult and unite the local region in an assault on the capital of this country, Deriland, called Goldcrest. They've taken the city back, driving the cult to the south and out of sight and out of mind for the time being, although they did not manage to kill the cult's leader, Lady Mizoth, who got away through a portal at the end of the battle. Just recently, while they've been trying to mop up the aftermath of the battle and some of the both psychological and physical dangers that have been flying around the city, they've also decided on a makeshift government for the time being, which they're calling the Council. Characters that they've appointed to various positions, I'll explain them as they come up. But the one that is relevant is the lizard person Gushik, who has been appointed their spy master and is currently leading them to a stash of gold which they have kept quiet throughout the last 5 years. But before we jump straight into that, why don't we meet our players and their characters? So starting with Dom on my right here. Yes, we'll introduce yourself, give us your name, your characters' names, the pronouns that yourself and your characters use, and tell us a little bit about them, where their head's at after the battle.
Of course. I am Dominic Allen, and I'm playing Testus Wind Botherer, a human sorcerer gifted with gaseous powers. He uses the he/him pronouns and is... Yeah, you smell him coming.
Fantastic.
Hilarious. Hi, I'm Will Thompson-Brandt. I'm playing Owen McCall, who's a rather delightful high elf ranger who thinks far too highly of himself and nobody else around him.
Fantastic. And yourself?
I'm Amy. I'm playing Pris Betane. I'm a cleric gnome. Off for adventure by the sounds of it.
Fantastic. And what pronouns does
she and her.
She, her. And did oh yes.
Priz, Priz.
And did we get your code?
No, sorry, I'm a he him.
He him. Fantastic. And yourself?
I'm Paul. I'm playing a Tabaxi fighter. My name is Fen. He him. I am interested after the battle in finding shiny things and telling stories.
Oh, so this is a perfect adventure for you. And Fen is just F-E-N, is it?
F-E-N, yeah.
No worries. So, the characters that were having this raging debate about who should be appointed what seat on the council stay behind. Ilassi, the headstrong elf ranger who was vying for Gashik's seat on the council, grabs Owen from nearby, from just walking, just goes, "Go with him. Go with them and make sure they don't mess us around." And pushes you along. Gashik is already off in the distance, and they're joined by the three characters we have on the right and left. They're talking to Testus, in fact, and the red-skinned lizard person goes, "I hear you were up in the portal room, the throne room at the last."
Yes, almost died, in fact.
What was it like?
It was, the throne room itself had been, some of the room had been modified. The columns had been carved away, and I suspect there was some sort of illicit arcane practices going on.
Sorry, you'll have to slow that one down.
I think bad stuff happened there.
Well, I know that much. And I haven't met you two before.
Hi, I'm Priz.
Fantastic.
I'm very tall.
I am very tall. Thank you. Nobody ever notices.
Well, I'm a gnome, so you kind of tilted me.
Well, I don't see height. and you are?
Ben.
Fantastic. They're having this conversation, and Tabaxi being a cat type person. What is there a specific look that Fen has?
What do you mean?
So, are they more like a leopard or a tiger or a tabby cat? Or
All black.
all black. Oh, nice. Okay. Shock black Tabaxi. Nice. This is the conversation you find them having, Owen, as you jog to catch up as they head down the city paths.
Marvellous. Well, now we're all assembled, shall we be off then?
We were already off. Who are you?
Oh, forgive me, it seems like you were doing nothing but standing here and talking.
I mean, we were walking.
Not quick enough.
No, certainly not. Well, I'm McCall. That's how you can call me.
McCall.
Yes.
You're one of hers, aren't you?
I'm sure I don't know what you mean.
I'm sure you don't. Shall we to my secret stash then, I guess? And they lead you, they start striding off down the road around the corner. Is there any conversations you'd like to have as you're walking? Or shall we jump straight to the next scene?
How much gold are we expecting to find in this secret stash?
Oh, when I last counted it, it was about 5,000. Like I said, the cult were not interested in anything shiny or gold. They just liked that ore that did the big words that he said earlier.
Arcane.
Yes, mashing. What was it?
Well, I mean, there was an explosion.
Yes, I've seen the side of the castle is somewhat ruined. And as Gashik points, you follow their finger, and you can see that there is a hole torn in the side of the keep up at the top from the battle yesterday that has not been repaired yet.
Why did they have all that gold if they weren't interested in it?
Oh, well, the gold was from before. The gold was a currency we used to use, of course, before the cult came down on us with their weird god. And then I stockpiled some. I figure we'll use it again, shall we? I presume so, anyway.
Some gold stashed away can certainly come in handy every now and then.
So, at this point, you come up across a massive grate in the floor. It's about 6 feet in diameter. And it's this metal sort of rusted grate. The smell coming down up from it is not good at all. as you look, you see that actually a large section of the stone which connects the grate to the ground has been blown away as well, seemingly in the battle, and it's actually enough for a person to slip through if they squeeze themselves. Priz, you'll be able to get through without any trouble whatsoever. On the other side of the grate, there is a dank stone staircase spiraling down into the floor, and it goes for as far as you can see at the moment. And Gashik presents it and goes, "Here's what was my front door then."
What do you mean was?
Well, I was imprisoned until last night, and then some of your compatriots came in the middle of the battle and blew open our locks and helped us fight to win the day.
Is that what that smell is?
What us?
I can't smell anything.
Listen, we were not. You should be prepared before we go down there. We were not well looked after. We were not looked after at all, in fact.
After you, then.
Fine. And they push themselves through the hole, squeezing their tail around the corner, and they start to head down the staircase. Who goes next?
I'll go. I don't mind.
Sure,
Yeah.
absolutely. It doesn't smell at all to you, Testus.
No, I've smelled much worse.
You push your way through. So marching order-wise, we've got Gashik, then Testus, then
I'll go next.
Fen, and...
Then myself.
And then I'll go at that.
Okay. As the heavily armoured gnome clinks up the back there. Can I get stealth checks from everyone, please? So roll your d20, add your stealth modifier.
Huh. That'll be 4 in total.
24.
24?
25.
25. Alright. 25.
That would be a 3.
3.
4 in total.
As the gnome literally clinks down the hallway.
Yeah, clinks down
I'm
the
not
hallway.
very stealthy.
Not very stealthy. I think we can
And I'm
imagine...
very gassy.
I was going to say, I think we can imagine why Testus's stealth score is low. Yeah, as they follow Gashik around the corner.
I can imagine I slip and just kind of fall into the person in front of me.
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, good lord, can you not just keep your distance, please?
What's going on back there?
Sorry.
You can see that Owen is looks to be almost picking a fight with the cleric at the back.
Let's press on, shall we?
The staircase opens out into this large chamber. So what you've got ahead of you for your head is a huge, just square block pulled out of the ground, about 100 feet by 100 feet. And it's got 3 layers to it, so 3 stories. And the staircase goes all the way down to the bottom story, but at each story there are gangways that lead off down these cells, and you can see that this is a pretty utilitarian prison block. You do not see any food eating space, there's no materials for like exercise or anything, it's just that. And each of the cells appears to be pretty much an empty stone slot cut out of the wall.
Are there any signs of the previous conflict when people came to free Kashyyyk?
Roll an investigation check. 5. You're a little bit preoccupied because the first layer of this prison seems to be full. I say full. At least half of the cells seem to be occupied by skeletons and less rotted remains.
Right.
And the smell down here seems to be wafting from them. You see all sorts of species just there lying in their cells. Some of them even appear to be half-eaten.
Okay.
It's not pleasant, as Gashik again tries to make a light quip as he goes, "Welcome home!" And goes down the stairs to the bottom hallway.
Does Gashik look disturbed about being back, PTSD, anything like that?
Roll an insight check.
10.
10. No, it seems to be fine. Although you can only imagine what it must be like.
I ask him again where his gold is. Because I think he's fine.
Sure. So we opened up a little cut into the sewers. We were going to try and escape. It's not much. You can squeeze maybe half a person through, but...
You'll be fine then.
Well, yes, actually, a gnome would have been very helpful back then. Where were you? That's...
Temple, maybe?
That's where I've hidden my gold. I didn't mark it with an X. I've heard that joke so many times. Don't any of you say it.
And you sure this is the right place?
The prison. This is the only place I've been for the last 4 years. Follow me. It's the cell at the back there. He wanders off, or they wander off towards the back cell. They're quite, confident. They seem to just be striding away. The 4 of you are free to do what you like in this moment.
Is there anything particularly unusual about this? Unusual, out of the ordinary for this sort of situation?
This
Is there anything that sticks out as being?
It sticks out as being barbaric. Like, even before the Imperial cult appeared, this was not how you treated prisoners whatsoever. But on top of that, I presume you mean sort of arcane.
Yeah, that's.
Is that what you're going for?
Yeah.
Roll an investigation check.
That's 13 plus 2. That's 15.
You catch something catches your eye, and it's a dead body that catches your eye. But your sort of researcher magic sort of guts.
Very much my gut.
Yeah, very good with your gut. Twinges slightly, and it asks you to look closer. Sure, as you lean forward, this body is not so decomposed. You look at the hands, and they seem to be very calloused, and it seems to be somebody who's done a lot of hard labour in their time. But as you look closer, there are tufts of black hair where there shouldn't be. All down the arm and down the back, as you look at its torn sort of top, torn shirt, you can see that exposed just randomly in the middle of the back, there's this tuft of what, if you didn't know better, would look like dog hair.
And it's definitely dead.
You prod it?
We're about to find out.
Definitely dead.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, good.
Well, I'll alert everyone to this discovery. Something weird about this body. You see it?
What do you mean?
Well, what species?
It's just a human. Just a human. But human.
I'm a human.
Sorry, Dom.
This poor fella here seems to be sprouting dog-like hair.
Do we think it's an illness or an experiment?
Well, I did hear that exposure to that ore can lead to certain unpleasant transformations.
Is Kashyyyk still within earshot?
Kashyyyk is
Kashyyyk.
well within earshot. Yeah, no, that's fine.
Let me just write that down.
Yeah, with a G.
What do you think, Kashyyyk? Is this something you came across while imprisoned here for 4 years?
Yes, well, sometimes we were taken away and sometimes we'd come back different. Never happened to me. Don't know why. But, as your new spy master, I guess that'll be one of the things I'll be finding out. And they move a brick out of the way to expose the beginning of this tunnel. You may continue conversation. Sorry, I heard you.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Was it always humanoids that seemed to be taken?
Always, yes. Not that we had much else but humanoids down here, to be fair. There. Do you think you'd be able to stick your head in and have a look? I mean, it doesn't have to be you, but you can fit
I
through.
crouch down in front of the now revealed hole and poke my head inside. Is it quite dark?
It is quite dark, yeah. Have you got dark vision?
Yes, I do.
If you've got dark vision, you'll be alright, because there are outlets that are letting light in from various regular points down the sewer.
Okay, so I've got down and I'm looking inside.
But that's what this definitely is a sewer tunnel. There's a little bit of water at the bottom, but it, again, doesn't seem to be very well maintained. Can I get a perception check from you, please?
18.
18. Yeah, there's some gold there.
Guys, found it!
There's about 10 pieces of gold there.
Oh, there's not a lot though.
What do you call not a lot?
What do you mean there's not a lot?
There's not a lot of gold.
Who's taken me gold?
Well, did anyone else know it was here?
Well, a few people, I guess. A few prisoners.
You told the other prisoners this is where your gold was hidden.
Listen, I was in charge. No one was going to cross me.
Well, they have. No offence.
Do you know who could have taken your gold?
No idea. Let's have a look.
I move out of the way.
They try and push another one of the bricks with their feet to try and make the hole a bit bigger, and they do indeed roll incredibly well and pop out another brick. And
They flick it with a finger and it just goes.
and they're able to squeeze through and drop down into the waters below. And they go, "Where's me gold?" Can I get investigation checks from those of you who are trying to have a look?
Yeah. It is a 17.
17,
That's 6 in total. So.
6, 17 is what we need, and your keen elf eyes see a trail of coins leading down the sewer passage and going around the corner, and that is what Gashik sees as well with 17 as well.
Right.
They weren't very careful, whoever they were. They went this way.
Does it look like it's been laid intentionally?
Right. Good point. With your 17, you can sort of get the impression that they're dropped every now and then, and it's a handful of coins each time, so it's not necessarily, doesn't necessarily look like it's been intentional, but your guard is kind of up.
Yeah.
It does feel like a trap. A little bit like a trap.
Why did I
Fair enough.
Can I fit into the tunnel now that everything's
Yeah.
widened out?
Yeah.
Do I now know about the coins after you guys have had a conversation? 'Cause
I would say
couldn't
so.
see them.
Yeah, I would say so.
So I start picking them up and following the trail.
Careful, that's for the country's kitty, yes?
Yes. That's why I'm collecting them all, because I've got the intelligence to know that we're going to need them, but not the wisdom to realise that it's a trap.
Okay, cool. Well reasoned. So the tabaxi starts picking up the coins and just absent-mindedly following it down the corridor and around the corner.
Well, it looks like
Should
we're
one of
going
us-
after him
I'm
then.
going to say, should we follow him?
Yeah.
I think we have to, don't
So
we?
it does seem to sense as if there's some kind of order to this random dropping, so I think we should be on our guard at the very least.
Okay. Do you want to try and get ahead of the tabaxi and be having a look around and vigilant, or... Because if so, I think you're going to need to RP that, because I'm not sure they're going to give way.
Am I still the same kind of stealth as we were before? When
No,
we came
it'll
in?
be a new check.
Fair enough. Yes, I will.
As you
I will
splash
try
your way
and.
through.
Yeah. Quite literally, I start playing in the puddle. Then yes, I will try and sneak ahead to go and see what's going on and what I can find.
Okay, fantastic. Roll a stealth check.
Is 14.
14. can I get... What's your passive perception?
My passive is 13.
Okay, so you feel a gust and you turn like, oh, well, was there something? But you don't quite see anything go past you. As Owen, you manage to get ahead. Roll an investigation.
16.
So there's no intelligently made traps that you can see, but on the walls of the sewer you can see what looks to be some kind of fungus or moss growing.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do a bit of a double take as I realise that he's now ahead of me.
Yep.
Didn't see that coming at all.
How did that happen? Maybe you should get your head out the goals. Where are you two in this?
I'm assuming I'm
Yeah,
following along,
yeah.
but obviously trying to keep it. I feel like I keep a bit of a distance.
Okay.
I'll probably stand just behind you. 'Cause I know you can see in the dark. I can't.
Are you holding my shoulder? Like, guide me.
None of it. Well, do you have light as a cantrip? You can do that.
I don't know if I do.
I've got light.
No, I don't.
Oh, you've got light.
I've got light as a cantrip. Do you want me
So-
to make you can I pick up a rock and make it a light for him?
Yeah, you can absolutely. Yeah,
Oh,
you
that's
pick
so
up
cute.
one of the pebbles. And well, the spell specifies you can colour the light if you would like.
Oh.
What colour would you like?
Whatever you fancy. I don't mind. Green.
I don't mind green.
So I create a green light, kind of like a sea foam green.
Oh, lovely.
Nice.
So you can now see out to 30 feet with
Great.
this stone
Ugh.
that she hands you.
Thanks.
Yes, as Testus Windbotherer is suddenly faced with the reality that he's been ignoring for this entire time. What are we doing then, chaps? Gashik looks at Owen and goes, "Well, you're the ranger, aren't you? Prove to me that one of the lassie's finest is worth something." The big Jack Sparrow there.
Yeah. It was very nice though, I liked it. I simply turn around and say, fine then, if I must. And continue on ahead in the same vein, like being quite careful and trying to be aware of what's going on in case of any sort of traps through the tunnel as we go.
Okay, so you're looking out for specifically traps.
I'm looking out for traps. We're still following the trail of gold, aren't we?
Yes, you are still following the trail of gold.
So I'm looking for any differences in the trail, any traps that might happen as a result of what's going on with the trail of gold.
Fantastic. As you do, you disturb one of the mushrooms that you passed by. Considering you didn't specifically tell me you were trying to avoid them.
Yes, I didn't. No,
You
that's
think
true.
that's fair?
Yeah, yeah. It's
And
very
there's
fair.
a puff of spores comes out of the top of it. Can I get a Constitution saving throw on this?
Which is D20, yeah.
Yes, D20 and that one there.
Yep.
That's 0, so just a flat roll.
Plus nothing. It's an 8.
Okay, so you cough as you inhale some of these spores. You take 6 points of poison damage. Your stealth is ruined, and indeed, you are now considered poisoned until you can save against that, which
Right.
will mean you'll be at disadvantage and things.
Yep.
How far behind
The
am
three
I?
of you see this. Yeah, you're not far behind. You're about. Well, how far would you be behind? Would you be keeping close to Owen? Now that you know that there's a trap, how close were you?
Is it Owen, then me, then Gashik? So they had a
Owen,
conversation.
you, Gashik, then these two together. Testus, then Priz.
So I don't know, like 5 foot, 10 foot. Probably,
Okay, then
probably
you.
just behind.
Yeah, so you'll need to roll to save against this as well. So that's a Constitution saving throw. As a fighter, you should be fine.
I'll take an 18.
18.
Oh.
You cough slightly and you just waft it away, but it's more like It just leaves a slight stain on your glove, and you're a bit annoyed.
As I waft it away, I realise that I'm carrying quite a lot of gold now. So I just turn around and say, "Does anybody have a bag?"
Gashik, literally, like, before you had even finished the question, has brought out a sack that they had brought with them for just this purpose.
I drop it all in Gashik's bag, and I don't know this guy very well, do I, Owen?
No.
I step over Owen and carry on picking up the gold.
Owen's just there in a coughing fit.
I don't know anything about these mushrooms.
Roll a nature check.
Well, I can't hear you.
No.
I rolled a 1. What are mushrooms?
Why don't you try eating them?
Judging what I've seen, I think I won't. I'm not completely stupid. I just don't know anything about it. Yeah, fine. Okay.
So yeah, Priz, ahead of you, your ranger has just started collapsing into a coughing fit.
I love the idea that he actually thinks really highly of himself and he's just really inept. It's just like, this way, I know what I'm doing.
I
mean, don't do yourself bad. You've got a good stealth check.
Just not anymore.
I feel like I would run over to him and be like, "Are you okay? Like, what happened?"
Oh, I tripped and fell against one of these damn mushroom things.
Well, that was a silly thing to do, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Safe to say I won't be doing that again.
Do you need much healing? Would you like?
I mean, I'm poisoned for
You're
for the
poisoned.
duration
Yeah,
until...
you'll need to save against that in a minute. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
So, I
you
don't think
won't
the's much
lose
I
any
can
more
do
hit points.
without
okay.
poisoning.
Well, I mean, as long as I don't lose any more hit points, I'm okay currently.
Okay. I don't think you.
I
Lesser
don't know.
restoration, if you have it, it would be what would be helpful. But I don't think
I've
you've got
got
that.
preserve life.
Preserve
but
life
yeah,
instead.
That won't
Okay.
Sorry.
Never mind then. Do you want to roll another Constitution saving throw and just see how you're doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, not great.
No.
I
am slowly just congealing.
I'm gonna walk away.
It was a 6 for those not looking at the desk.
Yeah, sorry.
Fen, as you carry along, Gashik behind you, are you just continually putting the coins?
So Gashik's stepped over Owen as well.
Gashik has now stepped over Owen as well.
Yeah, in
I mean,
that case, now that
was-
Gashik's got a bag open, we're a double team.
Was that a surprise to anyone? Gashik has not been a fan of Owen from the start.
Oh.
And the thing, so can I get a perception check from you, please? Gashik is busy counting their coin as it goes into the sack.
7.
7, okay. You don't notice as the sewer opens up into a larger cavern. You notice the larger cavern, but you don't notice what's there ahead of you.
1 piece of gold, 2 pieces of gold, 3 pieces of gold.
Exactly. There seems to be the as you continue on, you're led to a massive. The word that came to my mind there was gloopy. So
It's a good word.
we'll go with that. A massive gloopy, sort of almost cocoon-looking layer to the tunnel on the other side where the coins lead past. You're too busy trying to look for the coins to notice that you're headed straight into another sticky, horrible trap. Can I get a Constitution saving throw from you, please?
17.
Fen has spent their time in the in the wild, and you step onto this stick, and you're just like, oh, icky. Off. And then just carry on picking up the coin. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're just shaking off your paw. Would you like to flavour that at all?
I like to think that I'm now scooping up the coins and the gloop and just absent-mindedly putting it in the...
Oh no!
Remember that for later, Chris. Whoever goes in that sack needs to save against that.
Okay.
What about the other three of you? Are you continuing on?
Have we seen all this?
We've seen him go into the group.
Yeah, you're not concentrating on the coins, so you're quite able to see that the tunnel actually opens out into a large cistern-like room, and then the trail of coins goes through this sticky cocoon thing.
Do I recognise
You
the
watch as Fen puts his paw in it, and then shakes it off, and then scoops some of it up and puts it in the sack.
Would I be able to roll to see to know what it is?
You can both have nature checks, yeah, absolutely. No?
18? No, it's 4. That's 6.
11. So, Priz, you do a little better than Testus. It's not like you can turn around and suddenly give us the taxonomy of this thing, but looking at it, it seems to be some sort of, for want of a better word, off-charge. It seems to be organic, and it seems to have come from a larger creature.
So it's animal rather than vegetable.
It kind of, like I said, you don't know the taxonomy, but it on first sight seems to bridge the gap a bit.
Right,
Would I
see.
know enough to know that it's something that's always occurring from this? And I don't know what the animal is, but it's something that always occurs, or something that is just.
No, I'm
left
going to say with an 11.
That's fine. That's fine.
Either way, I'm going to call to Gashik and say, what he's putting in that bag,
He's putting my coins in the bag.
and some of the slime as well, I think.
Oh yes.
That might not be a good thing.
No, we'll need to clean that later.
Yes.
We can't spend those.
Maybe watch where you tread as well. There's a big horrible thing.
Yes, good call. She rolls a natural 20 and very deftly steps their way through the cocoon. Are you just carrying on, Fen?
Have I heard them say that? Have I heard any of this with? What
Okay, I'm going to let you. Do you think you would have, considering what we've established? Do you think you would have, or would you like to roll for it?
I think I'd like to roll for it.
Okay.
I think if it was all close enough, I might have heard it. Whether I care about it or not.
So we'll call this perception.
I've got 20. No, I've got 19.
19. Yeah, you easily hear this conversation that's going on behind you.
Okay, so I look up at the cocoon. Do I know anything about it?
It continues to layer the inside of the tunnel that you're going into all the way along. Roll a nature check.
12.
12. You know about as much as I told Priz before, but you also know that it may well be quite dangerous to ingest.
I start carry on picking up the coins and say, because I've heard you talking about the goop. I say, don't worry about the goop, just don't eat it.
Is what Fen turns around and says before he turns around and continues picking up coins. Gashik just says to you, "Do you mind not scooping it into my sack, please? Just try and avoid picking it up. Not that I eat gold, but sometimes I test it in my. Would you?
Should we swap? I'll carry the bag. You carry the.
No, you're all right. Just be more careful, yeah.
Okay,
How much
cool.
of the goop has he got on himself now?
Roll a dexterity check. 12. A fair amount is on his paws, but not anywhere else really. Owen, how are you doing?
I'm bringing up the rear,
Could you?
coughing somewhat slightly.
I'll give you another saving throw because, to be fair, it's been a while.
Yes, that
You'll-
is 19.
Your lungs are finally starting to clear as you're faced with this.
Yeah. As in my head, I've been following and just coughing quite lightly, even though internally my lungs are going. I'm trying very, very hard not to show it.
You're suppressing. it. It's like-
Yes, just for Gashik's benefit. I'm now determined to prove that I'm not as much of an idiot as I seem to be. Will I have heard these conversations previously?
Over your coughing, roll a perception check. Yes.
Grand.
Yeah, it's not a hard one. They're having a conversation in a very echoey system.
Yeah. In which case, I'm simply going to follow and bring up the rear at this point, very carefully.
Demoted yourself.
Well, I've decided I'm just going to wait. If someone else wants to go and set off another trap, then it can be their perks instead.
Fantastic. Finally, the tunnel opens out into a second cistern, and this entire cistern seems to be almost overgrowing. There's an underground sort of purple glow to this room as the orange goop that you saw before scales the walls and seems to be growing where there is moisture. As it goes up and up towards the roof of the cistern, it tends to fade away and stop towards the grate that lets light in down on this area. And you can see that there is a large pile of gold here. Several thousand pieces, in fact. Just as Gashik said there would be. Next to it is sleeping some kind of creature. It's difficult to tell what it is at the moment because it's sort of balled up, but you can definitely see that it does, as I've been saying, sort of bridge the gap between animal and vegetable, and it seems to have these spiny, almost like if you imagine the inside of a Venus flytrap, but it doesn't have two sides. It's one side on the end of a tentacle. And it has those coming out of its back, and its flesh is tinged orange from this goop that is seeping off of it.
I think we should burn this place.
It's sleeping, is it?
It appears to be, yes.
And I was leading the way, wasn't I?
You were!
And I noticed it.
Yes.
So I immediately stop what I'm doing and
Cats are famously scared
pull
of
out my
cucumbers.
crossbow. It's like almost like a ready, just in case we wake it up, or I'm very on edge now.
Okay, so your back arches slightly as you bring your crossbow up, and you're just stood, frozen in place,
And I just sort
staring
of
at
whisper
the thing.
behind me, "We've found your gold."
Aye? Shall we get it then? Come on, what's going on?
Goodness sake, man, keep it down.
What? You're at the back. Can I get perception checks from everybody, please? Apart from Fen.
That's 18 for me.
15.
Oh, that is 22.
Yeah. So all three of you have noticed the change in your compatriot. It's quite obvious to see when cats are scared, and this one is pretty on edge right now.
I move sort of strafe to the left around the edge of the cavern so everybody can come in and see what's going on.
Okay. Is everybody following Fen into the tunnel surrounded by the sticky?
No.
Ask a leading
This is one of those
question.
wonderful questions where everyone goes, do I want to go in and do this, or just...
I mean, Fen was fine.
Can
Yeah, Feb was fine, but...
Just saying.
Can I stay stood in, like, the sort of... You said it opens out into this hall, right?
Yeah.
Can I stay just at the point where it begins to open out, but still see this creature?
You can do that, but like I say, so you're in this first cistern,
Yeah.
which is clean, and then the horrible moss stuff cocoon thing is growing along the tunnel which connects that cistern to the cistern where this creature is.
Oh, okay.
So to do that, you'd have to go through that tunnel.
Yeah.
Is what I'm saying.
Right.
So Fen's inside the tunnel.
Fen is-
We're still
Fen is-
on the other...
I'm in the cistern.
Fen is
Oh,
about
okay.
70 foot away now, and you can just see them stop and hold there, and then just...
I wonder if we should test to see if this... Is there any way of telling whether the lining of this horrible lining is any way connected to the creature that's...
Roll a nature check. It's a good thought, though.
I mean, we could just set it on fire and see what happens. That's a 13.
Okay, so with your perception check before, you are managing to just about... I mean, You actually can't see the creature.
Right.
But you do, as you go up and get a closer look at this orange thing, feel that it has a sort of membranous quality to it.
Oh. Well, I'm going to start warming my hands up in case I need to burn anything.
Okay.
I'll mention this fact to everyone.
Fen, you're on your own. None of your compatriots have followed you into the lair of this thing.
Look out, Fen! It's got a membrane.
I want to stealth round to kind of like get a closer look.
At the creature?
Yeah. How far away from the creature am I? Have I seen all I'm going to see?
You're about 40 feet away from it and its pile of gold.
Oh yeah, I want to stealth closer so I can see better.
Roll a stealth check.
Oh no. 11.
11.
11 on a stealth check. With a modifier of 6.
Yeah, it's... Would you like to describe to us exactly why you wake it up?
Joy.
So my paws have got really sticky with this thing. I might not be being affected by it, but I've now not got sort of like the balance I once had. And I step on what I think is a flat bit, but it's not. It's like it's a step or there's a hole or something.
Or there's one of the mushrooms.
And just absolutely stack it, drop my crossbow, which makes a massive clattering noise.
And in fact, the crossbow goes off as you drop it, and the bolt flies into the cocoon-like membrane, and that's what wakes the thing up. And as you attack the membrane, the entire thing seems to ripple, and the creature gets up onto 4 stumpy legs with something of a growling roar, and you feel a voice in your head. Not a voice, it's more like you've got a level of empathy with this thing, and you're so angry right now as you're lying on the floor face down in its membrane. Can I get a Constitution save from you, please?
So have I shot the cocoon or the creature? Or just the
cocoon,
membrane?
The membrane cocoon thing, yeah.
I knew it.
Same thing, one and the same.
And I've kind of felt its pain. Constitution, 15.
15. You're still not poisoned by it,
Hey.
but it's not pleasant to have your face in it. Testus, Fen, Testus, Priz, and Owen, you all see this happen. You see Fen completely stack it, and Gashik sort of makes a bolt to the side, off to the right. So now all you can see. Can I get perception checks from the two with dark vision, please? Sorry, Testus, because you're a human.
Oh, that's
18.
not good.
You see the creature get up to its feet. Its 4 tentacles starting to wave around. And you feel the anger filling you. And is there anything you'd like to do quickly as a reaction to that?
Ready my crossbow?
Okay. And as you ready for what seems like inevitable combat about to happen, with Fen scattered on the floor and Gashik nowhere to be seen that you can see, that is where we're going to have to leave this hour of Adventurers Wanted. Really sorry, guys. Yeah. So, thank you very much. If you would like to come back, then you do feel free. There's, 73 more hours now across the Fringe? Something like that. Yeah, but you will have to refresh your tickets at the box office. Also, do inquire about our player tickets, which is how these two lucky people have got up on stage with us to fight this sticky horror. Please do tell everyone about the show on your social medias, on face-to-face as well. On Twitter, we're at Adventurers250, which is where Naomi has been live tweeting this whole affair for you to keep up with on Twitter while you're not in the room. And we're also on twitch.tv there at Adventurers Wanted. So twitch.tv/Adventurers Wanted. We have a Patreon as well and a donate button on our website. So please do, if you feel like you want to help us out, then that would be much appreciated. We do live events like this in London every month, as well as free play events to try and bring Dungeons & Dragons to a wider, more inclusive audience, try and break down some of those gates. And just before we say goodbye, last thing I'd like to do is throw over to our wonderful players and give them a chance to quickly plug something that they're involved with at the Fringe. So since, Dom, I know that you definitely have a plug, I'll throw to you first. Everyone else, you have a second to think.
I am doing Providence, The Shadow over Lovecraft. It's a comic horror biography of the man himself. I play the ghost of Edgar Allan Poe, and my good friend Simon Mader, the co-creator, plays the grandfather of American horror. It's funny and potentially scary, and it's at 5 o'clock at Assembly Rooms on George Street. I'm also doing another show called Russian Roulette, which is at La Belle Angèle at Just the Tonic. Improvised Russian literature with gambling machines.
Oh, cool.
Make of that what you will. That's at 8 p.m. Thanks very much.
Cool. Yeah, I'm doing a show at C Main on Chamber Street called The Other Guys, which is a tribute to Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons. It is that, and also just 4 people going utterly insane for an hour on stage. So it's a lot of fun. If you fancy a good party, do feel free to pop along. We're at 9:15 in the evening, almost every day of the Fringe.
Cool. And our players?
I'd like to say hi to our regular group, Destroyers of Darkness.
Nice.
No, we're Crushers of Keeps.
Now Crushers of Keeps.
Strong.
Either way, strong names.
Well, no, the thing is, the
We
joke
keep
is...
arguing about the name, that's the problem.
Yeah, those are the names my character wants, and they all want things like Bringers of Light and...
Oh, I see, right.
It's a Twitter poll comment.
Yeah. A Twitter poll, indeed. Well, hi to you guys out there.
We're just called the Church Lane Idiots.
Brilliant. Well, this could go on for a long time, so I'm going to call it there. Thank you very much for joining us, and can I just call for a round of applause for our players, because they were really excellent.